Hello everyone and welcome to Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today I just want to highlight some of the new luggage offerings from Mosko Moto as we get into the 2025 riding season. All right, as we jump in, I have a disclaimer, but at the same time a request. I do get luggage and gear from Mosko Moto free of charge for testing and evaluation and showing in these types of videos. So that's my disclaimer there. Plus, I do earn commissions if you buy products through my affiliate links. That's also my request. If you are purchasing Mosko Moto, anything from Mosko Moto at any time, please use my shopping links below or in any of my videos. They're in all my videos. It really helps support the channel, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Now, I want to put this right up front because I always get a lot of comments about Mosko Moto luggage and apparel being really expensive. And I agree with you, it is really expensive. Mosko Moto is at the very premium level of riding gear and riding equipment and luggage. On the other hand, and what you get for your money are products that are exceptionally well engineered with the highest quality materials possible. When you hold luggage like this in your hand and you really look at the construction, the materials, how things are put together, you start to understand why they cost what they do, and they're really built to stand the test of time. But they are very expensive. Certainly cannot deny that. So I want to highlight some of these new products, including the Alpine 30 Panniers, the Backcountry Euromount Panniers, some of the updates to the Reckless systems, and some other bags. But first of all, we should just have a brief discussion because there are pros and cons about going with rack-mounted luggage versus rackless, or I should point to that, versus rackless luggage like here on the Himalayan. So what are the pros and cons to this real briefly? All right, rack-mounted luggage versus rackless. In terms of weight, obviously you're going to save quite a bit of weight by going with rackless bags because you're not needing to put pannier racks on your bike. Let's talk about bike handling. The rackless bags like the Reckless 40 and 80 and others will tend to keep the weight of the luggage and your gear closer to the center of mass of the motorcycle. It preserves the handling a little bit more than putting bags out further to the side that you would get with like a pannier rack. Let's talk about ease of packing. So when you pack all your stuff in these types of bags, when you pack a rackless bag, you're packing like a tube shape. It can be a little bit of a pain to get stuff in and out, and it's just not as easy to pack as a more rectangular shape as you would get with a traditional rack-mounted pannier. In terms of cost, you typically will save money by going with rackless bags, substantial amount, because not only is the luggage a little bit less expensive, but also you're saving the cost, the $200, $300, $400 that you're not spending on putting a pannier rack on your motorcycle. In terms of storage space or capacity, you're going to have more capacity, generally speaking, with a rack-mounted luggage like the Backcountry versus you will with a rackless system. That's just because of how they are designed. So if you're a really heavy packer, maybe stick with the rack-mounted bags. So my advice in general to people when they ask me is, if you ride a really large adventure bike like a GS or an Africa Twin or a multi-strata, something in those categories, typically the rack-mounted panniers tend to work really well. And a lot of times those motorcycles already come with a rack from the factory. If you're riding a dual sport bike or a smaller adventure bike, I tend to recommend thinking about going with the rackless systems because with a lighter weight bike, the weight of your luggage is a higher percentage of the weight of your overall bike if you think about it that way. So on a lighter bike, sticking with lighter luggage makes sense. On a bike that's already the weight of an elephant, like my GSA, a few pounds for a pannier rack doesn't really make too much difference. So smaller bikes, rackless bags, bigger bikes, I tend to go towards the rack-mounted bags. All right, let's talk about these new Alpine 30 Panniers. This is a product that they released in the past 6 months or a year. I've had plenty of time to test these on some different bikes and put them through the paces, and I'm ready to share with you my opinion of the Alpine 30. So these are what the Alpine 30 are. They're a rack-mounted soft pannier that prioritizes lightweight and simplicity. That's really the Alpine Panniers in a nutshell. These bags hold 30 liters per bag or 60 liters per set. And because of the way they've done the strap mounting, which I really like how they've done the mounting, you can mount these bags on just about any pannier rack out there. Doesn't matter if it's tubular, square, or whatever you might have. Now the Alpine 30, we have to talk about what they don't have, especially when you compare them to sort of the juggernaut that is the backcountry bag. So the Alpine 30s do not have MOLLE attachment points. So you're not going to be adding aux pockets or water bladders or first aid kits or any accessories to the outside of the bag. You're not going to be able to do that. The Alpine bags also do not have the outside beaver tail stash spots. Where a lot of us, when we're camping, we like to put our shoes or sandals in there, or our tent flies that are wet from camping overnight. You don't get that with the Alpine 30. You also don't get a quick release system, so you will have to do the straps and buckles to get these on and off your racks. You don't get a quick release bag like you do with the backcountry setup. What you also don't get with the Alpine 30 is weight, and that's a good thing, right? They're much lighter. So these are about 4 pounds per bag versus a backcountry pannier with an aux pocket with the mounting wedge that you have to have and the mounting hardware that you have to have on your pannier rack on your bike. It's about 13 pounds or so. So this is 1/3 or 30% of the weight of the backcountry. And for weight conscious riders riding lighter weight bikes, you know, that's a big difference. That's a savings of about 8 or 9 pounds per side. So 15 to 20 pounds for a set weight savings going with these versus the backcountry bags. That's a big deal. Now, in using the Alpine 30 over the past several months, I've found them very easy to install on the racks, very high quality with really nice buckles and straps, this metal buckle here on the top. Nothing that seems like it's going to break, durable. These have been tested in a desert through cactus and brush and all sorts of things, dropping bikes on top of them. I found them easy to pack, easy to load. They just do the job well. My only criticism maybe with the Alpine 30, it only comes down to the cost. I think that at the cost that they are is a little bit high for a bag like this. Although I suppose if you're looking at high-end luggage like this from Giant Loop or other premium companies, I guess the price is in the range. But it does seem a little bit high to me for such a basic bag. All right, let's switch to talking a little bit now about the new backcountry Euromount. So if we back up and just speak of the backcountry panniers in general, this has kind of been Mosko's flagship product for a long time. And out of all the things that Mosko makes, including apparel, I would have to say the backcountry panniers are my favorite overall product that Mosko makes, and they're my favorite motorcycle luggage in the world that I've ever used. I love these things and I have multiple sets of them. So they have continued to refine and advance the design and construction of these bags over the years, and they're on version 2.5 right now. If you go to their website, always make sure when you look at that, you can see what version you have versus what the new ones are that they're selling. They keep making updates every year to the overall design. So the Euromount panniers, don't get confused about it. All it is to do with the mounting setup. So the pannier itself, if you order a set of Euromount panniers on the website, it's the same exact bag as the other backcountry bags that come with the plastic wedge mounting. The only difference is in the mounting system. So the cool thing about the Euromounts, and you can get the Euromounts as a retrofit kit for existing panniers if you have ones with the wedge mount, or you can buy the complete setup with the Euromounts already installed on the bags. What the Euromounts are a stainless steel mounting rack that mount directly on to the factory racks on certain BMW motorcycles. Now, you have to really understand what rack you have and make sure that these are compatible. These Euromount racks or mounting system is only compatible with certain bikes like the R1200GS and 1200 Adventure, the 1250GS and 1250 Adventure, the F850GS Adventure, and the F900GS Adventure. If you don't have one of those bikes, stop and make sure that if you did put like a BMW OEM rack on maybe some other BMW bike that you have, just check with Mosko Moto, give them a call or shoot them an email, make sure that you're getting something that fits. The way you know that your rack is compatible is it has the offset for the exhaust, I'll put a video here, and the little ramped sort of mounting tabs. If it doesn't have that, your rack is not compatible with the Euromount. So there's a lot of things that I really, really love about the new Euromounts. The first thing is I got these, open the box, they go right onto the rack, the bike. No tool, you don't have to get out a single tool, I'm serious. They mount to the luggage rack of your BMW, you turn the key, it locks, you're done. Speaking of that, they lock. These mounts have a lock that locks onto your pannier racks. That's fantastic. Couple other cool things about the Euromounts that you might not have thought of. The mounting system, this Euromount mounting system, they've done a really good job to reduce the weight. It's quite a bit lighter than the wedge mount that you get with the regular backcountry panniers. It's also a little bit slimmer, so your luggage now fits a little bit tighter, and your overall luggage setup is a little bit narrower than it would be with the wedge mounting system. And those are two things that I really appreciate. Now, basically, here's what I would say. If you're gonna buy a set of Mosko luggage, if you don't have a set now and you're gonna buy a set and you have a compatible rack on a BMW, the Euromounts are absolutely 100% the way to go. I know they cost a little bit more, but I'm telling you, go with this, they are way better. If you have older bags, I don't know that it's really worth the upgrade unless you really want that locking feature. All right, now, should you go with Alpine Panniers or backcountry panniers? Forgetting about the Euromount, how that enters the equation, put that out of the equation for now. Should you go with an Alpine or should you go with the backcountry? In terms of cost, you're saving quite a bit of money by going with the Alpine. In terms of quick release, you don't get a quick release system with the Alpine. You do with the backcountry. Storage space and expandability, a huge win on the backcountry pannier. You have all the MOLLE points on the front, the back, and underneath. And you have the beaver tail. You get so much more versatility and storage solutions than you do. This is just one compartment. That's it. This, I have my main compartment, I've got my beaver tail, I've got my front aux pox and my back aux pox. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can even put one on the bottom if I want 5. So you can see where I'm going with that. You get a lot more on the backcountry. Weight, of course, we talked about that. This is gonna save you a lot of weight versus the backcountry. So if you're weight sensitive, definitely go with the Alpine setup. I think the backcountry panniers are good for like long expeditions or people living off their motorcycles for extended periods of time, people really out there traveling on the road a lot. If you're doing shorter trips and you don't need all the space and all the expandable storage, then I guess you could consider going with the Alpine bags. Or if you're just a minimalist, you like the simplicity and the less weight. There's some other new luggage that Mosko has that's been coming out that I want to mention. The Trail 16 is a new bag, kind of similar to the Reckless 10, but they're expandable. They come with the curve harness, which has an adjustable width, a little bit more modular there. They're not waterproof, they're water resistant. So if you want fully waterproof, you're gonna have to stick with the Reckless 10. So I'll be getting some of the Trail 16s to check out really, really soon, and I'll have them here on the channel when I have a chance to test them out. And keep in mind, they are redesigning the Reckless 10, and the new Reckless 10s are coming out soon. I'm also going to be getting a set of those. Also, they've updated, I think I mentioned this earlier, they've updated the Reckless bags, whether you're looking at the 40 or the 80. So check out the latest updates to those bags. There's details and videos all on Mosko Moto's website. Also, be sure to check out Mosko Moto's incredible tank bags. In particular, I love my Nomax tank bags. They've got the water bladder. They've got all the organization for all my stuff when I'm traveling on the road. It works as a backpack, really worth the money. I love that bag. I also like the Gnome tank bag and all the other bags that they make. And their handlebar, the Nat bag for the handlebar bag is fantastic too, and a really low price kind of stocking stuffer kind of item, if you will. I know it's not the holidays anymore, but just wanted to mention that. So, a lot of cool stuff that Mosko has coming out. I've been an affiliate with them for years. The reason I work with Mosko and I partner with them is because they make some of the absolute best gear in the world, and I'm really happy to be partnered with them. So when you're shopping for the Mosko stuff, please use my shopping links. It helps the channel a lot, helps keep this going. If you have questions or comments about anything I've talked about here or anything else, put that down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Ride safe. I'll see you out there.